Shishodia reporting to you live from Costa Rica. Costa Rica is a small country in the heart of Central America, with Nicaragua to the north and Panama to the south. It is a land of volcanoes, waterfalls, rainforests, and rivers. Due to its varying topography and dynamic atmospheric conditions generated by the oceans that flank it, Costa Rica is home to a broad spectrum of ecosystems. The term ecosystem is used to describe a community of biological organisms, the environment within which they live, and the complex interactions between the two. In ecology and biology, abiotic factors are the non-living chemical and physical factors in the environment which affect ecosystems. Some examples include sunlight, temperature, water, atmospheric gases, rocks, and soil. The living things in an ecosystem are the biotic factors. Some examples include plants, animals, bacteria, and fungi. In this documentary, I will be focusing on the tropical rainforests of Costa Rica. Rainforests boast the greatest species diversity of any ecosystem. Tropical rainforests are typically located near the equator and between the tropics. Therefore, they have high temperatures and are subject to heavy rainfall, increasing humidity. Consistently warm temperatures and abundant precipitation are the abiotic factors which provide a superb environment for a plethora of biotic factors such as plants, animals, and fungi. The rainforest is truly multi-layered. The primary tropical rainforest is divided into at least 5 layers: the overstory, the true canopy, the understory, the shrub layer, and the forest floor. Ferns and mosses coat the grounds, since hardly any direct sunlight reaches the forest floor. The constant warmth and moisture promote rapid decay of organic matter, hence beetles, ants, and fungi thrive in this layer, along with giant anteaters who feed on them. Short foliage and tree ferns occupy the next level, where little sunlight reaches, so plants have to grow larger leaves to capture the sunlight. Growth-stunted trees vie for holes in the canopy, and shade-loving trees create a mid-level. Many animals live here, including red-eyed tree frogs, a large concentration of insects, and jaguars. The canopy of full-grown trees form the roof of the forest, blanketing the lower levels. Most canopy trees have smooth oval leaves that come to a point, aka drip tip, to retard the accumulation of water and subsequent growth of fungi. Many animals live in this area since food is abundant, including snakes, toucans, and monkeys.
Yeah, maybe he gets challenged by another. These are mangoes because there's no mangoes.
Those are juveniles, and they spend most of the time playing each other.
What's the life expectancy for this?
The tallest trees form the overstory or emergent layer, towering as high as 200 feet above the forest floor. Most of these trees are broad-leaved hardwood or evergreens. Sunlight is plentiful here with eagles, bats, butterflies, and hummingbirds flying around the roof of the rainforest. Soils of typical lowland rainforests are often shallow with all the nutrients available at surface level. Therefore, many roots stretch out over the surface rather than burrowing under the ground. Many species of trees have broad woody flanges at the base of the trunk. Originally believed to help support the tree, it's now believed that the buttresses channel stem flow and its dissolved nutrients to the roots. These are some examples of plant adaptations in a tropical rainforest. where vines grow on the trunks of the trees in order to reach sunlight. And here is an example of prop and stilt roots, which grow out of the trunks of the trees in order to support the structure. They can absorb moisture out of the atmosphere. Epiphytes, aka air plants, are plants that live on the surface of other plants, especially the trunks and branches. They grow on trees to take advantage of the sunlight in the canopy. They are not parasitic and do not harm their host. Water is collected from the runoff of other plants and trees, or is absorbed from the moisture in the air. They are autotrophic in that they fulfill their nutrient requirement by photosynthesizing their own food. Bromeliads are epiphytes that have evolved tightly wrapped leaves that act as small reservoirs collecting water, leaf detritus, and insects. From the resulting stew, bromeliads ingest the nutrients necessary for life. Orchids are the most exquisite epiphytes. They have beautiful flowers that attract the forest insects. Costa Rica is among the countries with the highest amount of protected land. 25% of the national territory is dedicated to the national parks system or biological land and marine reserves, as well as other natural wildlife areas. Costa Rica's conservation laws are apparently progressive in theory and ambitious in scope, but, like many other developing nations, the government lacks the resources to enforce them. Several human activities have led to the degradation of many tropical rainforest biomes. These are mainly deforestation, overexploitation, and introduction of non-native species. Deforestation disrupts the forest ecosystem, which in turn leads to habitat loss and fragmentation, as well as species displacement that ultimately causes loss of biodiversity. The dissection of forests into fragments in certain parts of Costa Rica has led to extreme hunting pressures of peccaries, for instance, and in some places where they are locally extinct, 3 species of frogs have also disappeared, since they depended upon peccary wallows for breeding ponds. The main causes of deforestation are land conversion, where forests are cut down in order to make way for agricultural areas such as banana, orange, and coffee plantations, cattle ranches, for beef production and residential spaces, or for other urban uses. Reasons for overexploitation are logging, where large areas of rainforests are destroyed in order to obtain timber from trees, tourism, where rainforests are being threatened by poor management and loose regulations, exposing rainforests to physical pollutants such as littering, and poaching and hunting, whereby animals and birds are captured for their fur and plumage and sold as pets. The introduction of non-native species by human activity, either deliberate or by accident, can be damaging to the ecosystem they're introduced to, since they may invade ecological niches and thus displace native species. All these activities greatly disrupt the forest ecosystems, often driving these species and several others that are dependent on them to the brink of extinction. Ending deforestation is our best chance to preserve biodiversity and end global warming. How can we help to save rainforests? Use wood-efficient building techniques. Learn about alternatives such as reclaimed or recycled lumber, composite lumber, and independently certified wood. Reduce oil consumption. Lots of oil comes from rainforests through the process called extraction. Support green organizations, fundraisers. Educate yourself and others. Mutual interactions between plants and animals are characteristic of rainforests. Many animal groups, but especially insects and birds, pollinate rainforest trees, as wind is not an effective pollinator for most plant species in this relatively closed environment. The insects receive food from nectar and other substances, and in return pollinate the next flowers they visit. Birds and mammals are important dispersal agents in nearly all rainforests. Some animal groups provide protection to certain plant species and receive living quarters inside them. Ants are the most common and abundant animals found in rainforests, and they have evolved to occupy all strata from the understory to the emergence. An ecosystem is an interacting community of organisms and their physical environments. The essential function of such a system is to capture and distribute energy and to cycle nutrients. All food webs start off with the sun as the main energy source. Energy in the form of light and heat flows through ecosystems and in nearly all cases derives from solar radiation captured by green plants and other photosynthetic organisms. Animals require plants to make solar energy available to them in usable form, and plants require animals to cycle nutrients. The biotic organisms that contribute to the system are often categorized based on their method of obtaining energy. One scheme called photosynthetic organisms, such as green plants, orchid seeds, coconut banana trees, producers. The animals that eat those plants are primary consumers, butterflies, toucans, macaw, monkeys, sloths, caterpillars, beetles, and the predators that consume those plant-eating animals to access energy are secondary consumers, iguanas, frogs, omnivores, tertiary, carnivores, jaguar, anaconda, python, crocodile. Decomposers break down dead producers and consumers to relinquish nutrients back into the cycle to be rapidly reabsorbed by plants and trees, insects, grubs, snails, slugs, beetles, ants. Saprophytes are the organisms that act as the rainforest decomposers. Some fungi, called mycorrhizals, are examples of plants that carry out this function. Mushrooms. An even more basic model simply divides the autotrophs, organisms able to produce their own energy, from heterotrophs, those that cannot. A keystone species is a plant or animal that plays a unique and crucial role in the way an ecosystem functions. Without keystone species, the ecosystem would be dramatically different or cease to exist altogether. All species in an ecosystem or habitat rely on each other. A keystone species in a tropical rainforest ecosystem is a jaguar. The jaguar's role in the tropical rainforests of Costa Rica is extremely important in that if the jaguar was ever to become extinct, the tropical rainforest would be off balance and the ecosystem would begin to fail. Jaguars require a large area to support enough prey to survive. Annually, an individual jaguar needs the equivalent of 53 white-tailed deer, 18 peccaries, 40 coati, 25 armadillos, and 55 pterosaurs, and that is for one jaguar. Costa Rica is home to over 250 endangered plant and animal species. Among them is the three-toothed sloth, Baratopus tridactylus. While not actively pursued, the sloth may fall victim to subsistence hunting by the local population. Other reasons the sloth is endangered include habitat loss and degradation due to conversion of forests to pasture land, clearing for coal production, and city sprawl. Sightings of the large squawky scarlet macaw are a highlight of birding in Costa Rica, but trapping for pet trade has extirpated these magnificent birds. Although populations are thriving in the Osa Peninsula, the scarlet macaw is now extinct over most of Central America.